Welcome to the Senior Podcast Show. My name is Kori Lehr. I am your host. I am also the Director of Communications with the Senior Companies. Today, I am here with Jeremy. He is the Executive Director of All Seasons Birmingham in Michigan. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here because we have done a lot of different topics on the show regarding seniors. And when I had the chance to reach out to you, you have a really different perspective on senior living that I'm really excited for you to be able to share with our audience.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Lots of people in senior living have caring backgrounds, whether that is some sort of nursing or therapy like me, or they went into it because they had a passion for caring for people. I'm not saying that you don't have a passion for caring for people, but you bring a different perspective, especially going through your career in hospitality.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what started me in hospitality, right? Is that I really do enjoy making memories for people, taking care of people. Mm-hmm. I've always defined hospitality as more of a lifestyle than like a career choice. It's really about engaging with individuals and, holding the door open for someone or helping someone with their groceries or putting someone's cart away for them. Like that's what the hospitality lifestyle mm-hmm. is about. And so that career choice was fairly natural for me to go into. So when I was approached to join the senior living community at All Seasons, I did so with a little bit of hesitation because the only idea that I had of senior living was a nursing home. Like that's all that mm-hmm. I knew. I didn't have any family members that had transitioned to a senior living community, either independent or assisted living at that point. So, my exposure was almost exclusively through media.
And the media portrays that, not with your reality, let's say.
No, not at all, not at all. So as I was going through the interview process, I became more and more interested. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need to really just step foot into the community that I was interviewing for in All Seasons Birmingham and figure out, is this something that I could do? And the moment that I walked in, I was like, this feels like a hotel.
Right.
This
is like familiar.
Home. Yes, very familiar. So, long story short now, a year and a half later, I've been in All Seasons Birmingham. And quite honestly, it's one of the best career choices that I've made. It's much more rewarding to be able to develop these long-standing relationships with the residents as opposed to hotel guests where, I had a handful that would come back and mm-hmm. I would remember them. But for the most part, it's very short-term mm-hmm. and very transient. And here, I know these people, I know their families, I know their likes and dislikes. I see them every single day and they see me. And it feels really good to be able to service folks that don't go away, essentially. Right?
Yeah, that revolving door is gone, and then you get to build that rapport with them.
Yes, yeah, that's great.
It's amazing. I do want to talk a little bit about your career in hospitality a little bit, because you do have a long-standing career in that, because really senior living, like you said, has only been the last couple of years.
Yeah, just, I started hotels in Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I was born and raised. And my first job was at a Holiday Inn Holidome. And I got bit by the hospitality bug, as they say. And so I did that for a couple of years as I was going to school. And once I graduated, my girlfriend at the time, my now wife,
that's good.
Yes, yeah. And I both went to school together, graduated together, and we said, you know what, let's get out of Indiana. And we decided to move to Florida, where I furthered my hospitality career at a couple of really, really great properties. The Don Cesar on St. Pete Beach is a historic hotel, and where I really cut my teeth and gained a lot of valuable experience. And then I took that to an independent boutique property that we kind of built as a startup mm-hmm.
hotel.
Garnered a lot of success there.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool place.
Yes, the Postcard Inn, right? Yeah, it's a very cool spot. Big party spot. Wasn't necessarily my cup of tea coming from a luxury to independent.
That's very different.
Yep, but it was a fun challenge to build up a whole marketing program, and really, we were not successful at the very beginning when I started there, and we built it into a very busy
Those
hotel.
Challenges are positive, and then you can innovate what you have, and then you start to see it grow and grow.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of starting at a place like that too.
Yeah. It was almost from scratch, right? And so, yeah, you had and I gained a lot of valuable experience, entrepreneurial experience, really was like, how do we make this successful? And finding that pathway. So I really enjoyed my experience there. But as it started winding down, I was trying to determine like, where do I want to go
next?
now? Yeah, Florida, my wife and I, and had a young son at the time, and we're like, let's get back to the Midwest, but not Indiana. And so we ended up, because we've already done that, so we ended up coming to Michigan. And, I'm close to my family now. I joke, I always say it's far enough away that they have to call, but it's close enough they can make it here during the day, right? So
yeah, it's not too far.
Yeah, not too far, but they're not going to show up unannounced. So
and you get all the seasons again, which we talked about. It's not always a bad thing.
No, it is not.
Only after Christmas.
Yeah, yes.
Only after Christmas it's bad. We're waiting on spring.
Yeah, the 3-4 months that you have to contend with after Christmas.
I seen some buds on the trees. I have some plants coming out of my yard. We're getting there.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah,
Not me.
Nothing.
No, nothing.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I took a hike yesterday in one of the local parks near All Seasons, and I was like, everything still looks pretty dead right now.
I heard last night, this is way off topic, but there is a pond near our house, and I heard all the frogs last night as we had the doors open.
Really?
Like, that is my favorite sound. I love hearing that.
It felt really strange, like 70-some degrees yesterday.
Yeah.
And like walking and actually like, what is that?
What is that? Is it
perspiring?
Yeah. But, oh yeah, those frogs! I love that sound. But
yeah.
So you were able to bring a lot of good experience, and I feel like some people would ask, well, why would a hospitality experience make a good candidate for someone who's going into senior living? It might seem strange, but I think a lot of people don't realize that it's really the same thing, only a different clientele, like you mentioned earlier. They're not coming and going; they're coming and this is their new home.
Yes. Yeah. And especially in independent living, right? Like it is a want versus a need-based community setting. And so, when people are considering moving out of their homes that they've been in for 30 or 40 years, there has to be some sort of upside to that. And the upside really comes from life enrichment, and it comes from the hospitality service that you're receiving. Every resident in our community, they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel respected from multiple people across their daily experience, from the concierge to the server to our executive chef who checks on, the diners as they're in the dining room. It's everyone in the community knows who they are, and it makes them feel special. And that's what really people want, right? People need that
in any setting, regardless of wherever you live. It's nice to have those relationships with people no matter where we are at in our lives.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's amazing too that you are able to say words like concierge and executive chef when we're talking about senior living. I can't emphasize that enough for people to break that sterile stereotype they have in their mind of what senior living looks like. Yeah. Because I don't think those two words really went with some of the notions that people have had in the past.
Certainly not for me, right? I didn't know that concierges existed. I mean, I assumed executive chefs existed.
Some even have valet.
Yeah, what's that?
Some communities have valet.
As
well.
Yeah, we do.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's not. It is very much like a resort setting, and a lot of parallels there. Service is the obvious one, but yes, how the community is structured from a staffing perspective is also another perspective or another aspect of hospitality that is kind of carried over through BezTech and All Seasons.
Yeah, that's incredible. What kind of skills do you think were the biggest in carrying over?
In the hotel world as a general manager, like my focus was more on the 6-month to a year time scale. And so a lot of my job was to forecast, predict, what are the market trends right now? What is the target demographic that we're going to go after 6 months and a year from now? What are the group pieces of business? And so that forward thinking mindset I think is one of the differentiators for us at All Seasons, is that we're, from me carrying those skills over, like I'm looking at long-term planning for the community, for the residents that are there. How can we introduce novelty on a consistent basis? How can we mix up their programming? And how do we keep them engaged and happy? My community specifically, has the highest resident satisfaction in our portfolio. And I think for folks that use Kingsley, I have a 4.75 right now year to date. I'm very proud of that. Yeah, yes.
That's what you're here for.
But all of our communities in the All Seasons portfolio,
brand,
exceed the Kingsley Excellence benchmark. So, they are very, very focused on service at All Seasons.
Yeah, although people might come there, like you said, when they are moving, they've lived in the house for a really long time, they're active people.
Yeah.
They're still active in the community, and they're looking for the next level, right? Because before you're stuck in your house a little bit, now you're at essentially like a hotel where they have different entertainment being brought to you, or you guys go out to games and shopping and restaurants and all different kinds of stuff.
House,
right.
Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
So it's like now you got your group of friends back together at a different time in your life, and you're going back out and partying.
Yeah, and once some of those residents come, and maybe they've left some of their friends that are in their neighborhood or in their social circle, they're the strongest advocates for referring their friends to the community. Like come and live with me, right? And this is what my life is like now, and it's testaments like that are like, they're second to none, essentially.
That's the truth. And a lot of our company, a lot of our coworkers have been in senior living before. And what they would find was that people would always say, I wish I would have done this a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
Because there is so much to offer. There are so many different things going on. Like I thought it was terrible when I was leaving my house. I was losing my independence. I wasn't going to be able to do this, and this, but it's like, what was holding you back? Like you have to worry about the upkeep of the house, like shoveling and cutting the grass and all of those things. Like you don't have to worry about that anymore. Now you just worry about like, hey, what are we doing tomorrow?
Yes. Yeah. It's like a perpetual vacation for them.
Yeah. And at that time in your life, like you work so hard, like you deserve it. When I talk to people like you and I'm like, oh, some meals and transportation's all good. You don't have to worry about, linens and stuff. I'm like, what is holding you back? Because I'm coming and I'm moving in.
Yeah. I take my chore list and take it out of my hands, right?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and so, I just really think that people need to see the places in person, like you said.
Absolutely.
Because it will change your perspective.
Yeah. I mean, so earlier in my career, one of my jobs was a general manager at a fine dining restaurant. So it was a 4-diamond dinner service only restaurant, and I had no business managing this restaurant. But my
but I was.
But I was. My food and beverage director had a lot of confidence in me. Thank you, Mark Bronke. But
it's hilarious.
Yeah. So I start this job, and we have a 400 bottle wine list. This is beautiful dining room setting.
Was that in Florida too?
Yep, that was in Florida as well. The Don Cesar, the Maritana Grill. Beautiful restaurant. If you have the chance, stop in. But what I learned from that is that most people, when they go out to dinner and they have a great experience, they say, a handful of positives. The food was phenomenal. The service was great. They might speak on the ambiance a little bit.
Yeah.
More perceptive individuals may expand that list by 5 or 6 items, and really like point out a couple of the really special features. But for me, like the whole dining experience was very subconscious. And so, it's everything from the temperature in the room, the uniforms, the tablecloths, how the place settings look, how the silverware feels in your hand, how the glass feels in your hand. All of those things are contributing to that diner's experience. And that lesson that I learned a long time ago carried over to the hotel side of things when it comes to design. And when I walked into All Seasons Birmingham, it was the feeling that it elicited in me that was like, okay, this feels really good. And when I started picking apart the things that they are, the thoughtful design process that goes into these communities, and now that I've been there, I better understand what that looks like. It's a very, very thoughtful process. Mid-century modern design for the most part, but everything is designed from the color scheme to the carpeting patterns to the art that's on the walls with the resident in mind and trying to engage their senses.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're doing more than just thinking about this is where they're living. You're really trying to open it up to something that's neutral for everybody, but in an upscale sort of way.
Very much so.
Yeah, you really do have to take a tour. I do encourage people to give Rita a call. We got to shout out Rita, you know.
Yes, Rita's great.
Give her a call. Definitely take the tour. Can you, we've talked a lot about like different carryovers and sort of what sets it apart, but can you tell us a little bit more like how many apartments do you guys have and what does that sort of look like once you're inside a little deeper?
Yeah, sure. So, once you enter into the grand living room. We have a beautiful Bosendorf piano in there where we have performances on a consistent basis. And so we have entertainment throughout the week in various parts of the community.
And it's renowned entertainment, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just, I know how to play guitar, I'm coming in.
Yeah. No, we had an artist in residence last year, a world-renowned violinist that played at all of our communities and stayed in Ann Arbor at our all seasons there and came and performed at each of the communities. And that was a great experience for the residents. And I think for the artist as well.
Absolutely.
It was very rewarding for them. But some of the other components of the community were 131 apartments. Okay. We have on phase 2, our development that's in process right now. We have an additional 24 apartments that are going to be added into the community.
Phase 2 is very exciting because it's 55 plus.
Yes. A little younger demographic that we're targeting for that. More of the independent individual that maybe wants to live in the Birmingham area but doesn't want to contend with the challenges of owning a house in that area.
Yeah.
And maybe ready to downsize but not quite in the communal setting with 131 apartments. And so 24 different units, 18 floor plans ranging from about 1,100 square feet to about 1,900 square feet.
I think I saw most of them are, 2-bedroom?
Yeah, all 2-bedroom.
I was going to say, I thought so.
Yep. And then there's 4 units that will have very large terraces on the 4th and 5th floor.
That's going to be amazing.
That will overlook Woodward. You can watch the Dream Cruise from the deck of your apartment.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
What, are you guys still on schedule for fall opening, or has it been pushed back a little bit?
It's probably going to be Q1.
Yeah, I kind of thought so.
Supply chain issues, yes.
Yeah, that's a huge problem for everybody. Yeah.
So I think there was a window supply chain issue, but that's been worked out now, back on schedule for probably the end of Q1 of 2024.
That's amazing. Yeah. Even still then, I mean, I know we're just getting out of the first one of this one, but it'll be here before you know it.
Yes.
That's going to be a really fun project. And I think then that sort of project will really allow you to use sort of even more of your skill set in sort of marketing that and getting people to come in and see a different way of living. Even though people might say 55, that's so young, and while it is, I think the benefits that you'll have there, it's like if you're that age and you're going to the gym, you're doing this, like you don't even have to leave. No. It's all going to be there already.
It is, yeah. And really those individuals that, that are potentially going to move into that building, they're still working. They're not retired yet, right? So that's who the ideal resident for that community would be, is someone that, again, doesn't want to contend with their house, but still wants the Birmingham area, and they're working, 4 or 5 days a week still in the office or from home. So.
Yeah. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to take a tour. I'm just inviting myself already.
I know. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. So you guys you talked a little bit about that entertainment. You guys do have chauffeur transportation. You have valet service, a multi-purpose theater, hair salon, you name it. Like if you don't want to leave, you don't have to.
No.
But you can.
Yes, you can anytime you want. But
you're not trapped, but
we call it life enrichment, right? And we take that moniker pretty seriously. It is about enriching their life. So it's not just entertainment that we focus on. We do focus on their mental health, their physical health through exercise classes that we offer 6 days a week. We focus through mental health with one-on-one connections and, bringing in therapy sessions. We bring in sometimes therapy dogs come in, which is always my favorite, right? And so, we try to find little niches where we can improve people's lives, even if it's just a handful of individuals that may be interested in that. We still put that programming in because every single person is important in the community.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
It really, you don't know sometimes something small can make such an impact on someone's life.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a message that we can carry over in every single one of our everyday lives.
Yeah. U.S. World News does a best of the best, and we participated in that at the end of last year. And one of the questions on their survey is loneliness. Like, how lonely are you? How often would you say that you feel lonely? And, we got those results back. And fortunately, we only had a handful of residents that self-reported as kind of feeling lonely at times. But we took that information and we directly engaged and put a program together for those people to get them into the community and find their group, right? And find the people that they're going to be successful and grow around. And it's been great. Heather, our director of life enrichment, is a real benefit to the community.
Absolutely. I think just taking that time, and whether that's just a one-on-one conversation, popping in and say, hey, you mind if I come in for a little bit?
It is.
What are you up to? And loneliness can stem from lots of different things. That doesn't mean that they're not participating in things in the community. They might, you might just miss your family.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Because families are displaced.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got family out of state. And so I bet sometimes your family's like, man, I just miss Jeremy.
Yeah, sometimes.
Feel a little sad.
Yeah. Yes.
You're like, no, good riddance.
Yeah.
I encourage our audience to reach out. BezTech does have communities in other states beyond Michigan as well. Yeah. And so while we want them to go ahead and relocate into Jeremy's community in Birmingham.
Because it's the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously. But you guys do have communities in Arizona. There are some in Florida.
We do, yeah. So we have 4 communities in Michigan in the metro area. So there's West Bloomfield, Rochester Hills, Ann Arbor is the newest community, and then Birmingham. And then Naples, as you mentioned, and then Oro Valley, Arizona are the other 2 communities, and looking to grow as well.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience or myself about your community or about your experience there?
Yeah. I really just want to leave with, telling everyone how proud I am of the residents that we serve. I'm proud of the team, and I'm proud of the All Seasons brand as a whole. Our home office, our support team in the home office, they do a phenomenal job of reaching out to every community and ensuring that we have the resources that we need to really make the All Seasons experience the best that it can be.
I think you touched on a lot of really important points too. Like while we talked about hospitality and how you were able to bring those skills over, you also talked about creating that rapport and how maybe that was something that you were missing in the hotel industry that you were able to get and help fulfill you in this new career for you in senior living. But also, what I love even more than that, you talked about how you enjoy celebrating your residents. And at the end of the day, that is the point of senior living.
It is. No, you're absolutely right.
They really do so much more for us than we do for them.
Yeah. I mean, the whole reason I got into hospitality was to take care of people. And in the hotel business, I had a handful of, hotel guests that would come back every week, corporate travelers. But for the most part, they're transient interactions that you're having. So it's a...
Hey, Mark!
A quick dopamine hit of like helping somebody. This is more like a drip of being able to like really take care of individuals, get to know them, their families, their likes and dislikes.
And it's so meaningful. It really is on a different level. And caring for someone who has cared for people throughout their entire life and just making something a little bit more special for them, it really goes a long way in their life, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that's what people don't expect to get in senior living.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Now that you say that, it's probably one of those unexpected like consequences of moving into a communal setting in senior living. Yeah.
Getting to know everybody. You get a bunch of friends, and I know that you feel it too. Sometimes you'll walk in and, like you said, everybody knows your names. It's like cheers, and everyone's like, oh, hey,
Yes.
Jeremy, hey, Jeremy, hey, Jeremy. And
Yes.
it's like, oh, I love this.
Yeah, it does feel good walking in the morning. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So again, I encourage our audience to reach out to Jeremy and Rita at All Seasons Birmingham. You can call them at 248-237-4552, or you can visit them on the web at allseasonsbirmingham.com. If you have any questions about senior living or anything senior related, you can contact me at kl@theseniormovers.com, or you can call me at 586-204-8500. I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube, look us up on Facebook, that's The Senior Movers, or adviso.com for all information. Please send your suggestions, and as always, I'll see you next time on The Senior Podcast Show.